It's been one of those days, and a long one of those days, as it were. You have to excuse me, I just woke up. I had a moment to nap, and I napped way too long, and I'm still tired, and I hate my life right now. Not literally, I've got way too much good that's going on, but there are days where I still remember that my body sucks, and my health sucks, and I hate that it sucks. Plus, I got allergies. Thank you, Mother Nature. Just loving you. I didn't come on here to bitch about all the bull crap that I have to deal with sometimes on a daily basis, some of which some of you would never even begin to understand the kind of stuff I have to go through, which only to some degree bolsters my talk yesterday about some fucking women who will hate on me for being a man taking care of a child on my own. Okay? I'm waking up each day, sometimes through horrendous amounts of pain. I'm being even-handed. I'm showing my child love. I'm trying to make sure that he's got food in his stomach, that he's got nutritious food in his stomach, that he's got, a warm belly or a warm meal in his belly and taken care of. But no, because I have a dingle dang, aka a penis, I can't possibly be a good dad. You obviously, you either don't know what I have to go through on a daily basis at times just to be there to be a responsible dad, or you don't care. And either way, if you don't care about me being a responsible dad and want to take my ability to be a responsible dad away, then I don't care about you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This isn't what I was trying to talk about. I'm sorry my head is kind of foggy, but I had to do some broadcasting because this is maybe the only thing out of all my responsibilities, and yes, I do take this on as a bit of a responsibility, because if I was going to do this, I was going to do it seriously. I was going to take care of this. I came across another post today. I'm not offended by it. I just felt that it was an interesting idea that this person was talking about. They were trying to deconstruct the idea of marriage, and I may be actually talking marriage with my soon-to-be fiance and girlfriend, okay? I may have talked out against it considering the fact that I'm polyamorous, although she's so much different than any woman I've ever met that I don't feel at all that I'm going to have any problem with my polyamory and her. Not that I'm practicing it, but again, I get to choose what I do with my sexuality and whether I choose to partake upon it in the ways in which I've come to know of it as, or whether I choose to hunker down and be Johnny Johnny monogamy. And I see nothing wrong with monogamy in general, because I believe there are generally probably about two people in the world. There are those who are monogamous because that's just how they're wired. That's just how their ability is. And to step outside the bounds of that, they're the kind of people we don't want in the polyamory camp, because they're the people who are likely to be bad for various reasons. But I do believe that there are those who don't consider polyamory. For the longest time, I wasn't one of them because I didn't know it existed. No, we as a society are not willing to talk about it. We want to say that monogamy is the default setting and therefore is the moral setting, and anything outside of that is, how do you insultingly put it out there? Oh yeah, cheating with permission. Which, even if that were right, what would that matter? If I'm doing it safely, consensually, and within the confines of polyamory, with all parties involved knowing at least about each other, then I don't see the disconnect. I don't see the problem. Even if I have my son, I wouldn't see the problem. Now, some might say, aha, that man-hating lesbian, not that I'm saying all lesbians are, I'm not even trying to make that claim, I'm just saying this woman happened to be a lesbian who I was talking about, and she happened to hate men. These are just the facts, as has been relayed to me by people who know this person best and who are not their enemy. No, I will teach my son about polyamory, but I'm not going to teach him that it's the only way to be. I'm not going to say that he has to be polyamorous. And even if I were to cover it, I'm going to cover it the way that I know of it. That it's consensual, that everybody is involved, and that if his heart is wired for it, and he might be, I am, that he knows to talk it over with his partners. So that rather than cheating, he's making informed decisions, choosing what is lust, what is love, and usually going after what is actually love instead of lust. In other words, he can be the kind of guy that some guys might be if they knew what polyamory was and was on board with doing it the honorable way as you're supposed to. You know, I'm not going to teach him to have multiple lovers, especially if that's not who he is. But I'm not going to have him having relationships that suffer because he doesn't understand his sexuality. I don't want him feeling like there's something wrong with him because while he does love Jane, he also finds so much to love about Jill and feels that he could have a committed relationship with both. And then maybe making a mistake because he doesn't know about polyamory and he hasn't told Jane, who he was originally with, about this and seen if she was on board with it. You know? And I think it's extremely narrow-minded, not to mention hurtful, that we do this because while I have never cheated on anybody, I haven't exactly been the best in some of my past relationships because I didn't understand me. I wasn't given a chance because society told me monogamy or it's cheating and it's wrong. And that's total bullcrap. That's not even what polyamory is about. And then there's people who get polyamory mixed up with polygamy, and polygamy with polygamous cults, and suddenly child brides are being talked about in the guise of polyamory, which, no, that has nothing to do with my sexuality. And then I have some people who, in some cases, they were right until lately, who are telling me, oh, you can't be monogamous and be a polyamorist. Why not? The main thing is, just like this post, which I'll discuss in part 2 here, because, again, I want to give it ample time without boring you to death. It's, who are you? Who are you to tell me, as you've always told me, what my sexuality can and cannot be, and what boundary lines I can and cannot cross in today's society, including just not being polyamorous? Who are you to tell me what I can and cannot do with my sexuality, especially if I find somebody who is above and beyond everybody who I've ever dated in my life, and that's saying a lot. So no, I'm sorry, I don't take your label, I don't take your boundaries, your constructs, and neither should most of you out there. You know, some of you, I do absolutely believe, are absolutely monogamous. You were absolutely built for that. By and large, biology is going to say, though, that throughout history and everything else, and I'll try to find that I'll try to find that documentary and post it in this video and the next, just to talk about where some of my source material comes from. Not all, but some. Is that we're not meant just for couplings of one-on-one. I'm not here, though, to sit here and then be a bad guy in the other direction and monogamy shame. Screw that. Because, as I said, some of the people I know are successful monogamists, and you know what? I see nothing wrong with that. It's what works for them. Some people can stay married for all their lives, from high school on. Some people can't make it 6 months. And in part, the ones that fall apart for cheating, I have to honestly say, well, I'm not saying that it's right if any party cheats, but I am saying maybe one of you is polyamorous and don't know it because you weren't taught it. And I think that's a greater disservice to the to the many, not the few out there, to not include that in a discussion of things of like sex and sexuality. We could move forward as a more responsible species, and that whole adage of men are dogs wouldn't exactly hold up if we're learning about ourselves and we're approaching life in a much more respectful and meaningful way, especially towards women or men. I'm not saying that polyamory can't exist in such things as the LBGT camp as well. But this is my basic framework that I'm kind of going to be working with in part two. So part two, we'll get to the post and deconstructing it, and then I'm going to move on to my last topic tonight. Yes, it's going to be a short night, and we'll deal with it then.